What's up, guys? It's me. Today we're going to be doing our 2023 Oscar Best Picture nominees tier list. Now, we got Best Picture, Amazing, Great, Good, and Not My Taste, and as the categories. Those are the tiers, and we're going to be ranking the movies based on which tier they belong to. So, let's get started with the tier list. Now, I'm going to start with All Quiet on the Western Front, and I'm easily going to put this in a good tier. It has amazing visuals, solid performances, and I loved the direction of the film. I think what puts the film down in general is a screenplay. I really didn't care about most of the characters besides the lead, and the lead mostly had to do with the actor, not really the material given. And I get that it's supposed to be like this allegory for war and how war is bad and all that, but we've seen that before. We know that war is bad. I feel like there needed to be something more that carries the emotional weight of the film. But with all that being said, the cinematography is amazing, the production design, the technical aspect of this movie, that direction, the editing, everything is spot on and perfect. It's just that I didn't really resonate with the emotional core of the film, if you know what I mean. Next up, we got Elvis, and I'm going to put it in the good tier. Same reasons for All Quiet on the Western Front. The technicality of this movie is amazing. The editing, I actually really like the editing. It wasn't like Bohemian Rhapsody where it was just cuts for the sake of it. It actually had like transitions. It had purpose to the editing. And Austin Butler's performance, like what can I say about it? It hasn't already been said. He's amazing. He's extraordinary. He transforms into Elvis Presley, and you don't see Austin Butler, you see Elvis. But the thing is, I feel like this film also lacks the emotional core. Because of the fast-paced editing, it's really hard for us to really know Elvis Presley as a person or a human being. It doesn't really help that the film takes place with the snowman's perspective, not really Elvis, and we see the film through Parker's perspective, which is why I'm going to put it in the good tier. But I really enjoyed it. It could be a little tedious at times because of how fast-paced it is, and it's kind of hard to keep track, but you know what? When I rewatched the film, I feel like it was all good. Next up, we got Tar. Now, Tar is the direction, the screenplay, and Cate Blanchett's performance. Not gonna lie, I'm not a big fan of I feel like the sound and editing can be a little overrated, and because some of the points, the transitions of Tar, it's mostly direction. You know, it's not the editing really doing the heavy lifting here. When people mention some things like the transition between her playing the piano to the orchestra, like the loud, big orchestra swings, that's mostly direction because Todd Field probably had it storyboarded and mapped it out in his head, and that's how he wanted the editor to do it. It isn't really the editor being like, oh, I feel like this is the way, and it was probably a cut to in the screenplay as well, so I feel like we shouldn't really be praising the editing for that. But Cate Blanchett, amazing, and I feel like this film could be digested, rewatched, studied, and it's probably going to be studied in film schools as well, so it's a really great film. Next up, we got The Banshees of Inisherin, and I feel like I like this a tad bit more than Tar because it has this emotional core to it. The film does look a little cold, but these characters, especially Colin Farrell's character, and the friendship between these two characters, you could feel that it's a long-term friendship actually coming to an end, and you really feel for these characters. And Barry Keoghan and Carrie Condon. Next up, we got The Fabelmans. Now, The Fabelmans is this emotional story about Sammy Fabelman, and I really resonated with it a lot because I related to Sam Fabelman. Him going out shooting movies, always filming his parents, that's something I do. And the scene with Judd Hirsch really perfectly captures the film's spirit and what it tries to say. Art and family could tear you up into pieces, but the thing is you gotta follow what your heart tells you to do. And that's what Michelle Williams says at the end of the film as well. And that really sticks to me. And Paul Dano, what a great performer. I loved him in this movie. And the cast in general is amazing. You know, Michelle Williams, some people say that she's overrated or she isn't really particularly good in this movie. I have to disagree. I feel like she nailed the character. She got her assignment done and she did what the character was supposed to do. And she did it flawlessly, in my opinion. Next up, we got Triangle of Sadness, and I'm going to give this one the amazing tier because Triangle of Sadness, it's an amazing screenplay. It's funny, it is satirical, and it, most importantly, is kind of how it deconstructs class. Some people say that it's been done before, but I feel like the three-act structure, it hasn't been done this way. And Dolly De Leon, when the third act steps in, I feel like some people, I disagree when some people say that it lost in the third act. I feel like the third act really defines the film and it repurposes the film. It's not just this funny movie about like captains screwing up and saying politics in the mic while the boat crashes. It's more than that. There's this hierarchy that we're deconstructing, and the film just really analyzes how hierarchies work and how different class types work, the rich and the poor and all that, and how one crash of a boat can result in this hierarchy being the complete opposite, It's fascinating. Next up, we got Top Gun Maverick, and I'm going to put it in the good. It's really good. Like, the sound design, the editing, amazing. The third act blew my mind. and I feel like this movie just has everything going on. It has a feel-goodness to it. I just think that I don't like it as much as how other people do, but that's just me. Next, we got Women Talking. I'm also going to put this in a good list. I feel like it could be a little tedious at times, but the performance is really strong, the writing is really good, and I feel like it just gives a really important message, and I feel like it is one of the most important movies of the year, and I feel like every person has to watch this to give them like a proper insight on how we should be thinking and how collective we should be when it comes to making rational choices in harsh circumstances. Next up, we got Avatar: The Way of Water. Now, this is easily one of the best movies of the year. It's easily my top 5 favorites, and I feel like this just gives you the cinematic experience that I was craving for since like the first Avatar, maybe. It just gives everything I wanted to, the visuals, the story, the characters. Like, I loved everything about it. The visual effects are amazing, and the direction is incredible. I love everything about this movie. With that being said, the real best picture of the year is Everything Ever All at Once. It has everything I described these films, but more. Emotional core, checkbox. Editing, technical aspects, prowess, check. Direction, screenplay, check. It has everything going for it, and I feel like the praise of this movie never gets old or sickening because it is so richly deserved. I think this movie is just everything. It encapsulates every feeling of every Asian immigrant ever, and I can highly relate to that as well. And not only that, but the emotional core with Stephanie Hsu and Michelle Yeoh's character is really, really touching. And Kioi Hwan's monologue, I just love this movie, and the action pieces are so fun to watch. I could just keep going. I could keep going about this movie and how good it is, but I can't. This video is going to be like 100 minutes long, so I feel like we have to stop there. Alright guys, so I think that's all. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.